Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. We're back here with a little Conan Exiles Age of Calamitous mod, and we've got a pretty lengthy video today. We got a lot to talk about because this is going to be an update video. Update 2024, the Tide of Battle for Age of Calamitous has come out, and we are looking at version 3.66. In this video, we're going to take a look at the new cinematic, discuss the patch notes, do a quick tour of the faction hall rework, take a look at the new maps for the new PvP based mode called Battlegrounds and kind of get into what that's all about. And then we're going to take a look at some quality of life improvements to the underwater cavern, the Cold Embrace camp, and the starting area. There's also a brand new dungeon called Goreclaw Deep. We're going to take a look into that and talk about what's changed because some stuff's gotten moved around a little bit. So stick around. I'm going to get into character creation. We're going to take a look at the new cinematic here. I'm going to do that without commentary. Alright, so that shows a fleet of Stormhold ships coming in through a little bit of a canyon and getting tossed around by some Vanguard guys. It's a pretty cool intro, I think. You end up here on the Vanquished Coast. This is the new landing area for starting the game out. So there's some things we're going to do here. First, we'll take a look around. We are on the map. It's all the way down over here in No Man's Land in the second square, so you're not even technically on the map here, but so it's built out in kind of a dungeon area. But this is where they've got Farengar has landed here with you. I don't know if he's with you or just meeting you here, but they've numbered all of the quests to help keep them organized, so you can track where you are on the quest line. And your tutorial is going to start here. So it's listed as tutorial, and it's the same quests that you had previous. There's also, in this area, you can interact with this campfire. which will give you a filling meal. And that'll give you that regeneration boost. And then there's this chest here that's brand new. This is equip gear. When you hit this, it gives you a two-handed stone sword and a full set of light armor. So that is kind of a nice way to start a game out. I know that Conan being a survival game is you start in your underwear and build up your castle and whatnot, but it is kind of nice to have the option to have some light gear, and it does give bonus encumbrance, so you end up with an encumbrance set that gives you a +5 to encumbrance. So that's kind of nice. This chest over here is your skip tutorial chest. If you've already done the tutorial, if you've done that, if this is your second or third character, whatever, if you're on a server that has multiple characters, if you've played through a bunch of times and just don't want to do the tutorial quests, you can hit this button, hit this chest here, and it'll give you a token. And that token, once used, now it'll teleport you into the faction hall. So, and once you're in the faction hall, you come see Farengar again, and you'll see that all of the tutorial quests are blacked out. You can't do them. So that's the new landing area. We're gonna go through the patch notes while we're in here in the faction hall. We'll do a little faction hall tour as well. All right. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the faction hall and the complete rework of the faction hall and Alrune areas. So this is the Alrune area. This is just outside where the old faction hall used to be. This is where the new faction hall will dump you out. You'll have Farengar here to give you more tutorial quests. This is they're all numbered now too, so you can reference a specific quest. So, like, quest number 12 is the Exiled Lands. So your tutorial guy is right out here, and they added a construction platform to aid with the quests that are involved in there. Over this way is the same stairwell, and then your dungeon, the Temple of Alrune, is right down by that brazier. Back up over here is the old faction hall. You can still get into it. You can still get into the faction hall through that portal there. And it's being left as an admin space. So, like, you can build in that. I'll leave that for the admins to discover. But you can build in it, make it your own, put your newbie help area or your marketplace or whatever you want to put in there. You can make it a dungeon, I suppose. I guess I don't know what the limitations on that are going to be. But that space has been left for admin areas. In fact, it references it in, what does it say here? Added admin hub to faction teleport within the admin panel. So that'll take you to the admin hub. But what we want to look at is the new faction hall. So I'm going to there's a lot of walking in here, so I'm going to use this opportunity to read through some of the patch notes here once we get in here. So as you can see, the faction hall has received a complete rework, and it is beautiful. They did a great job with this. Starting out, you'll notice that it has 2 floors instead of just 1 now. On the right side are your Elven Covenant, Cold Embrace, and Vangul faction hubs. And on the left side are your Felgar, Stormhold, and Elvenor faction hubs. A lot of this is cosmetic. The giant statue with the portal above it and the waterfalls, well, it looks nice. It doesn't appear to do anything specific other than look great. Whereas we got Farengar here again. We keep finding this guy. He's got 4 through 10 on your tutorials, to include a Battlegrounds tutorial. And this plate of food here you can interact with. it will give you a filling meal, but it will not fill your food meter. So that's important to note. You need actual food to fill your food meter. So if you are starving in here, that does not currently seem to be filling your food meter. And it is tough for me to test it now because I have food set to off. But so we'll just walk around in here and take a look at some stuff. While we do that, I will read through some of the patch notes. The changes and fixes, optimization and performance improvements, that's going to be your catch-all. Improved mod compatibility. It doesn't get into any specifics as to which mods it's improved compatibility with. Improved lighting in various areas. Improved audio transitions. And improved biome blend for the south in regards to fog and rain. So that's all your polishing and your cleaning up of, sharpening the edges and whatnot. That's stuff that you like to see your developers doing because it means that they still care about their game. It means they're still putting forth the effort into the game to make it the best game they can make it. So that's good. We like that. This section here that we just wandered into is your marketplace, and it's going to have all of your weapon dealer, your loyalty vendor, ingredients trader, a tire dealer, honor vendor, and your general store are all on that side. And over here are the dispatch board NPCs. So something that people will be happy about, I assume, there's a group of people that don't like the underwater cavern dungeon, and I understand it. It's a dark place, difficult to get around, and it's made so intentionally. But that doesn't make it not frustrating for people. So what they've done is they've added a checkpoint feature to the underwater cavern. There are 10 points that can be activated using mystical dust. It appears, from what I've checked out about it so far, that there are torches, essentially, that you can activate with mystical dust that'll light up. I'll have a little bit... I'll show that off later on in this video. But that seems like something that should help people with navigating the underwater cavern. I don't know if it will make it enjoyable for them necessarily, because if you hate that dungeon, I think you're gonna hate that dungeon regardless. But if you love that dungeon, I don't think that this will take away from that either. So it may land as a happy medium, which good. That's exactly what we want, right? We want everybody to be happy with it. So good job on that, I think. This section here is going to be your profession section. So Hunter's Guild here, showing off what is potentially the biggest wolf I've ever seen, and what is certainly the biggest deer I've ever seen. In this way, we've got the Forestry Guild and the Mining Guild over there, and here's your vendor. And then upstairs are the other two. The farmer and the moonshiner. So this is your professions hub. Another nice looking area. It's a big deer. All right, something that I know people will be excited about is faction specific. This improvement, it's a quality of life improvement for the Cold Embrace quest line. The Cold Embrace quest line is frustrating because you have to go into an end game area at an early level, and it's not always a pleasant experience. Sometimes you end up aggroing the entire camp and just dying. So what they've done to fix that is they added a portal on the outside and inside of Gorthorn's camp for Cold Embrace only, intended for the Cold Embrace quest line. That is a quality of life improvement that's going to make a lot of people happy. it basically it portals you not directly in front of Gorthorn, but close enough that you're not going to be aggroing the camp up. So that brings the Cold Embrace quest line more in line with the other quest lines in difficulty. Now that it cuts out having to actually fight through that entire camp, you don't have to do that anymore to get to your sub-faction quests. So that's good. You'll still have to go in there and fight the camp if you want to get one. If you're not Cold Embrace, you have to fight the whole camp, which makes sense because they're objectively the bad guy, right? So that makes sense. But now, even if you are Cold Embrace, you'll still have to go in there and fight if you want to get an Eliza Cole as your taskmaster, or if you want to kill the bear or whatever. You still have to fight in there, but you get to do it on your terms instead of having the camp just jump you as soon as you walk in. So that's a great way to handle that particular complaint. And I think the complaint was perfectly valid, and so is the response to it. I think that was a great option. So this is Farengar again. This guy has more instances than anybody, but this is the relics. So each relic tells you where to find them. Collect the Storm Relic from Gathon and Unnamed City. Collect the Midnight Relic from Shinra Allery and Goreclaw Deep. We'll talk about that. So it gives you the location. This one doesn't. I've got a video on that. I'll link that in the description. And then the complete rework of this area is nice. This is Nathan. I don't have a quest to come to him, but that's your endgame Stormhold quest. They changed the relic platforms. Looks pretty nice now. Looked really nice before, but I think it looks nice now. I don't have the relics to place them on there to look at it. I might do that for the thumbnail of this video. I think that'd probably be pretty cool. And then here's your entrance to the Forsaken Mountain dungeon. So that hasn't changed. You still enter the Forsaken Mountain dungeon through this, but man, they did a great job reworking this faction hall. So some other updates that they made: updated AI for various NPCs, updated description for merchants in the faction hall from craft to buy, updated Shinra Allery's location to Goreclaw Deep, updated Ashira's location to Goreclaw Deep, updated stats on various quest NPCs, updated Tome of Nature Ascension Volume 2 and 3 locations, updated in-game help, and updated the in-game cinematic intro. You will have seen that already at this point in the video. The intro, I'll have that at the beginning of the video, I'm sure. With moving Shinra Allery into Goreclaw Deep, they also removed the Shinra camp, which was the camp over where you get the Midnight Relic, obviously, from Shinra. That camp was over by the Savannah, on the southwest corner of the Savannah. Here's another big one. The quest NPCs are no longer tameable. What that's referring to is your Melandra up at the Air Temple, or your Vorlina and the other fighter thralls that were tier 9s and very easy to acquire because they were guaranteed spawn tier 9s. So the Cold Embrace couriers, those guys are no longer tameable. This is going to be, I believe, a controversial change. There's two camps on this, right? There's the camp that believes that it's nice to have early, easy access to late game thralls. And then there's the other camp that believes that you shouldn't have that access. A tier 9 thrall should be difficult to acquire because it is your top tier thrall. So, whichever camp you land on, I think that I think you can understand why having, what was it, 6 tier 9 thralls that were always available is bad for the game. It just makes it so it's too easy to acquire a high level thralls, getting up to the 15 and 18,000 hit points with very powerful attacks and whatnot. It makes it too easy to turtle up and be impossible to deal with. The tier 5 thralls are strong enough to get through all of the vanilla content and most of the AOC content. It brings the uniqueness back to having tier 9 thralls, in my opinion. I'm for this. I think this was a good change. Moving on, Arcane Ward now lasts for 120 seconds. I don't know how long it used to last for. Specific spells will not register kills for PvP and quests. These are listed with no PvP quest effect and thus will not count towards player score. That must have to do with the Battlegrounds, which we'll talk about here in a second. This room is your character customization room. That's all that's in here. Renamed Ashira's Rise to Night Moon's Rise because Ashira moved and they didn't want any confusion with Ashira being in Goreclaw Deep now. Fixed various issues regarding NPCs falling through the ground. Fixed various bugs in regards to the menu. Fixed various issues with AOC NPC AI. That's awesome. As far the further you can get away from Funcom AI, the better. The fixed the dots not counting in kill quests. So there was an issue where if you were to apply a bleed to a quest target and the bleed killed the target and you didn't, I guess that's probably a terrible way to phrase that. But if the bleed did the final damage, it wouldn't count as you killing the quest target. And therefore you would have to wait for it to respawn and whatnot. So they've fixed that, so that's good. So you can now use dots again. Fixed an issue where players would get stuck on the quest widget when deleting a quest. So when you were in your quest menu here, if you were to delete a quest, you would not be able to use the close button. So they fixed that. While we're in there, actually, this is the new layout. They added your quest log up here, which is what we're in. Credits, you can check the credits, Battlegrounds, server settings, lore, the admin panel for AOC is right here. What's new? In-game help is nice. We'll take a look at that here in a second. The AOC map in the Discord. So in-game help, they've added a tutorial section, and they've added a tips and tricks section. So like for dungeons, tells you what they are, time attacks, daily quests, stuff like that. It kind of gives you the breakdown. This is something that I believe will be helpful to new players. Battleground. This is... So, I don't want to get into this just yet. Let's finish through the patch notes, and then we'll get into Battlegrounds. What's new? So, key features of patch 3.66. Quest improvements. They've reworked the quests to flow better with the overall experience. I haven't played around with that yet. I did skip the quest lines and whatnot for this video. The new admin hub with the faction already worked. We left the old one still intact. Well, it won't feature anything. It can serve as a great admin hub for servers. Battlegrounds, again, we'll talk about that in a second. Quest giver despawn. This is a known issue. So if you're playing on single player or on co-op, quest givers may despawn. All you have to do is relog, moving out of render distance and back in, or re-instancing. For example, if you go into the faction hall and come back out, should fix that. Okay, so they fixed. Moving on in the patch notes, they fixed an issue where the Grand Portrait of King Marcus was not granting the buff. I don't know what that means. I never used that portrait. I'm glad the buff is back. I'll have to look into that. They fixed an issue where the in-game menu wouldn't close after using the teleport functions. They fixed various descriptions on items. Fixed various issues with the Arcane Ward, fixed an issue with the Orb of Plague effect duration, and fixed various bugs. We've been in here already. We've been in there already. Let's go see what's in here. Admin features, they added an admin hub to faction teleport within the admin panel, and they added battleground teleports. So I believe we've seen everything in here. got just a couple more things to read on the patch notes. They added a dungeon, Goreclaw Deep. They added a battleground system, supports both PvP and PvE servers, but can only be used in multiplayer. Added a faction war scoreboard, added a battleground scoreboard, added options to auto-track quests. Items, they added a skip all quest items, so this will auto-complete all quests in AOC. Only use this if you wish to disable the quest system. Admin spawn only. I have done that, so I don't have any quests to do in this section in this video for you. Added a skip tutorial quest. This will skip all tutorial quests. That's at the beginning, in the chest that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Added a divine magic rune. Added a summoning stone. Magic changes. All magic weapons now allow for a dodge out of ultimate before the attack is initiated. Alright, fire magic, earth magic, and blood magic ultimates can now be used while moving. Staff of Sladium, Scholar Staff, Essence Staff, Phantom Scepter, Druid Staff, Lorekeeper Staff, Dragon Staff, and Staff of Azaharian ultimates can now be used while moving. NPCs added Goreclaw Tiger. Visuals, reworked the Faction Hall, reworked the Cold Embrace hub, reworked the Elvenor and Felgarth hub, reworked the Stormhold hub, reworked character creation screen, updated AOC in-game menu, updated lighting in the jungle swamp, updated resource mines, updated decorative rocks, and added time attack Goreclaw Deep. So the rest of the patch notes is that they added dungeon quests. So they updated various quests, updated quest descriptions, added main quest numbers, and updated quest notification text. The rest of them is added tutorials for factions, professions, battlegrounds, customizations, magic. Added the Forsaken Mount in the Underworld. So that those are the quest before the time attack. They added all of that stuff. They added one of those to each quest. So that's the faction hall, and that is the patch notes. Sounds like they did a lot of good stuff. I'm excited to see how it all ends up shaking out. I also want to take this opportunity to talk about Battlegrounds, because I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be a very interesting way for admins to be able to host PvP even on PvE servers. So this is what the admin screen looks like. You got match rewards. You can use the item ID. As it stands, only admins can activate Battleground matches, and that's to prevent abuse of the reward system. If you were able to just queue up matches on your own, you could queue them up so you're the only one in there, you would win and you'd get the rewards. It would be kind of a mess. You can have NPCs spawn in with you. Their difficulty can be set to easy, normal, or hard. Match timer 5 to 40 minutes. Max team members, that has to be set. I'm the only one on the server right now, so you have to have you could set it so that you can have an uneven number of teams. But you have a blue team and a red team, and you get a scoreboard here. So right now there's only Stormhold, because I'm apparently showing a Stormhold even though I'm all the factions. But as you get kills, your name will appear here with the number of kills that you have. So it allows for a little bit of bragging rights within the server on an individual level. And then the faction wars is what's interesting, because it shows the number of kills underneath for each faction. So that allows for some interesting server politics, some dynamics. If there's a bunch of Felgarth players, they're obviously going to be in first place if they're doing this. But then, it kind of incentivizes joining other factions so you can help with the faction wars, and he gives admins something to promote as a PvP event. And there are 4 maps essentially. Team Deathmatch is currently the only game mode. So on your admin panel here, you have this Battleground teleport. So we'll go check out a couple of the maps. So this map is the Land of the Harbinger. It is the small map, and as you can see, there's a team spawn area. There's kind of a wide open black ice area. I believe you can farm this if that's what you want to do in here. You can jump across on these rocks. This is the same stuff that is in the underworld and will kill you, so taking the shortcut's not always advisable. But this being the smallest map, the other team will spawn right over here, just down that way, and you can see that this is there's a spot where you can see both spawns. So this is a fairly small map. The second map is the Karamire Forest. I think this one's my favorite. It's pretty, but it's nice and large. It's not the biggest map. This is the medium-sized map. Big forested area, lots of space to work with. This river's kind of the dividing line on it. Doesn't show on the map, but this river's kind of the dividing line on it. You get up high in these trees. So the intention... What the... Apparently the environment tries to kill you in here as well. That's good to know. The intention for some of these maps is full-scale server battles. So like this one, I don't know if you could fit 40 people on here comfortably fighting, but you could probably fit 20, 10 on 10. The first one, probably 5 on 5. So I don't know what the exact numbers they were thinking when they made them, but I was told that the intention was to have a couple of maps that you could have full-scale server battles on. So that has a lot of potential to be really cool. All right, let's check out... We're going to check out the Badlands. This is the big map. As you can see, you spawn in towards the back. There's a large... There's no line of sight anywhere. So you've actually got to go running through and fight. You can't climb any of this. So you can climb it. Okay. That's good to know. A lot of the mod structures can't be climbed, so... But this is just a large desert area with a whole lot of vertical space and cut lines of sight, so you can't really see where the opponent is going until you kind of get to the other side, or let them get to your side. Okay, you can't climb up here. But this one is for the larger scale battles. A lot of space, a lot of verticality, a lot of fighting. And I actually haven't seen this last one yet, so I'm pretty excited to look at this one. This one was a late addition, I believe. The Kingdom of Stormhold. So we'll take a look at this one, and that's... Oh, this one's... It's inside. So this one's the smallest one, obviously. And looks like there's a little verticality to this one. Rooms to clear out. Okay. That's kind of cool. This one looks like it'll be a lot of fun. But the Battleground system as a whole, what a cool way to be able to engage even a PvE server in some level of conflict. Because that's what happens a lot of times on PvE servers, in my opinion, is the content dries out, and having PvE tournaments where you could 1v1, you could have one-on-one PvP tournaments and just restrict players to the courtyard on here for 1v1 and have a 1v1 tournament, or make this a 3v3 or a 5v5 arena to fight in. And it gives you something to do on a PvP server that you may not have otherwise had outside of the battle standard, which can make a PvP area anywhere. So I'm excited to see what people do with their Battlegrounds. On PvP servers, it's not going to be as impactful because the entire server is PvP, but it gives you a cool area, and it adds that scoreboard, and it adds that, you know, it kind of gives you that tangible, you know, reward for doing it. And if you win, you actually get a reward. So there's a lot of cool stuff about this. I'm excited to see where this goes. I expect to have a fair amount of Battlegrounds content. I look forward to playing in these. And this is where, if you're Cold Embrace, this portal's going to be active for you. So in this portal, you're going to have to fight your way into here. So it's not going to be without some. So, I mean, it's just skeletons and whatnot. I think I saw some Scourge Reapers running around over here somewhere. So there are some enemies in here, but for the most part, you just run into this portal, and this is going to teleport you right to Gorethorn. So this is very nice for the folks who are in Cold Embrace, who have had trouble getting in here because of the entire camp aggroing when you catch the attention of the Zevra Scout. So that's a nice quality of life addition for Cold Embrace. So that's the portal. It dumps you right here. So it's kind of in between both the Gorethorns. The other Gorethorn is out over that way by the glowing green barrels over there. So it puts you near both of them. I don't think you have to visit that guy during the Cold Embrace quest line. You got to visit him in a different quest line that I'm drawing a blank on right now. But yeah, then you can just leave the same way you came in, and it dumps you back out here. So yeah, and there's the Scourge Reapers out here. So do be a little careful out here. There are some AOC baddies out here. Alright, everybody knows this place. We are back in the underwater cavern, and we are going to take a look and see if we can find one of the checkpoints that was added. Now, I was in here the other day and I found one. I'm curious to see if it'll still be lit. I suspect that it won't be, because I did change my character, so it'll be interesting to see. Shark over there, so we'll just swim over the spot where I found one. I'm not gonna find all 10. They did add 10 checkpoints in here, and they're activated with mystical dust. So once we find the first one, I'll show you what you're looking for. I do not know where they all are, but I can show you what they look like. And it is this right here, and it is not lit. So you get your press to interact button, but that's what it looks like. If you shut your light off, you're gonna see a little glowing blue light. I guess I don't know how far away you can see that from. Not super far away, and I imagine it would be tough to pick out anyway. But then if you have mystical dust in your inventory, which I do, you can hit you can hit your interact button, and it'll light up a torch, which has a fairly significant area of brightness. And what I imagine their aim to do there is to just show you the path to get back through. It's kind of like the torches in the wine cellar dungeon that you can light as you go. So that's a pretty good quality of life improvement here, I think. I think that'll help people out a lot. And with that, we're going to move on to talking about some more of the update. One thing I wanted to demonstrate here was that the quest NPCs are no longer tameable. So that's, I know we talked about it when we were going through the patch notes, but I just wanted to illustrate it here to show you that you can no longer come and get a Melandra. I can't lock on, so I'm terrible, but you can see this is a Croxium Truncheon, and she is taking no concussive damage at all. So they have made these thralls impervious to concussion damage, and I'll show you on these guys that this truncheon works. So the truncheon works, doesn't work on Melandra. So that means Melandra, the two couriers, Vorlina, and any other of the named quest NPCs are no longer going to be tameable, which we've discussed already in this video. So just wanted to show that off quick. All right, and finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is the new dungeon. It's called Goreclaw Deep, and it has actually been in the map. You've been able to find this location since the December update. And where it is down here in F2. And it's got the kind of Jebel Sog face. If you were a diligent explorer, you may have found the location already. This dungeon is now open and available to play, and I'm gonna say they did a great job with the aesthetic of the dungeon. I am gonna do this dungeon in God mode. I'm not going to complete the dungeon. I'm gonna give you a quick flyover for the purpose of this video. I will have a dungeon completion video that's gonna come out here soon. I don't know when for sure, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to quickly go through and show you the sites. Alright, so as you enter the dungeon, it is a beautiful, well-lit underground cavern type area. And it's not really a jump puzzle, but this is the path forward. You gotta make some jumps here. You can't climb any of this stuff, so do make sure you don't run out of stamina right there and then nearly fall to your death. Pay attention to your stamina. And then as you approach this tree, you're gonna run up and around it, just like some of the large trees in the jungle. And that stairwell over there is our target. So I've got the dungeon to show you, and then there's a couple, I don't know if there's a couple other things, but there's at least one other thing in here we got to talk about. This branch is broken, so be careful when you jump it. And once we get to the top of these stairs, we're going to encounter the first new enemy. I guess the only new enemy, the Goreclaw Tiger. They are a 20,750 hit point cat enemy. They behave like the other cats in the game. They have a fair amount of health. They're pretty tough. Nice addition overall. The majority of the enemies you're going to fight are Night Rangers in this dungeon. So as we move through, you'll notice these well defended by quite a few Night Rangers as you get into it. You got these long walkways. You get your stamina back. I suppose I could just be flying, but now the one thing to note and I'm not sure if they changed it or not, but the aggro distance for some of the enemies is pretty high. So you could end up fighting enemies on the end of this bridge. As you see, there's 2 Goreclaw tigers over there. They may aggro on you from quite a distance, and you may end up fighting them in a little bit of a confined area here versus out in the field where they're standing. So that's something to take note of. As you come around here, there's a couple more Night Rangers. You get into this little cave here with more Night Rangers. And this is just the ads section where you're battling through the Night Rangers and the Goreclaw tigers to get to the first boss, who is coming up around the corner. And it is a familiar face. You will recognize the first boss. A couple more Night Rangers standing guard here on the bridge. You head down these stairs. More Night Rangers, and then there's a Strith Mage. So it's cool that they have added the Strith as a... it's not really a faction, but they've added the Strith race into the mix. I don't know if that's indicative of potentially a playable race in the future, but we do have some Strith now. And then up here, you'll see a door that you can't get through. That door you can't get through is because there are two Goreclaw tigers and a familiar tiger. This is Ashira. Ashira was in the unnamed city in the Covenant camp. They have moved Ashira here and renamed the Covenant camp to avoid confusion with Ashira's location, because if Ashira is in the game and they have a place called Ashira's Rise, people are going to go to Ashira's Rise looking for Ashira. She's not there because she's here. Now, when you kill Ashira, she's going to give you this ethereal power stone. That's what you need to open this door here. You can't get through it without it. So that makes it so you have to fight Ashira. She will still drop the arcane magic tome that she always dropped. I believe it's 4. But that consumes the ethereal power stone, and that passageway is now unblocked. So we come through here, and there's going to be another Strith Mage and another long walkway. More Night Rangers. And there is a very large glowing-eyed tiger kind of just hanging out watching. I haven't tried to get over there. I don't know if there's anything over there. But as we progress through, you're going to find another Strith Mage and a couple more Night Rangers. Again, more ads to fight. Her eyes look really cool. Those mages are cool. His eyes are glowing green. They did a really good job with those guys. Those are cool. More Night Rangers here. And then you'll enter into this big open area, fight some more ads. And then as you come up to the top over here, you'll find another familiar face. In Shenra Allery. She's got a significant health buff. She is now almost 60,000 health at 57,400. I made a joke in a previous video while fighting her at her previous location about how easy she was. I can assure you she is no longer easy. This is a tough fight. She goes to her katana more than her bow, and it puts in work. They also added a couple of Goreclaw tigers in here to make the fight even more fun. This is your boss of the dungeon. She brought the Midnight Relic with her, so you have to come in and do this dungeon in order to get into the final dungeon, because this is where the Midnight Relic is. So her camp that was over by the savannah is completely gone. They took that camp out which means one of two things. That means that Shinra Allery is here because her camp is gone. And the other thing is there was an earth magic tome that existed in that camp. And what they did with that was they brought that in here. That was the end of the dungeon up there. So that section is the dungeon. This is just an open area. I don't believe you can build in here, but it is worth exploring. It's a neat little area. And the other, there are patrolling tigers and various enemies around. But the other thing that's here is, find the path across. There it is. The other thing that's here is the Earth Magic Tome. So as you come across this little bridge, you will see there once again more Night Rangers. You'll see this spire of light shooting up into the air, and up on this pedestal is Carissa Dumont.
You can walk out of here with a bargain or a frown. Your choice.
And she will sell you the Tome of Nature Ascension Volume 3 for 20 Star Metal ore, 10 Black Lotus Flower, and 25 Fire Bloom.
Come again.
And that's Goreclaw Deep. It's this beautiful, wide open area that you can walk around in and kill a few enemies, and then there's the dungeon. You'll come in here for your nature tome, and that's that. I'll let you guys explore the rest of it. But I believe that's going to wrap up this video. I'm going to do what I can about the length in post, and hopefully I can get it down to a reasonable length, and I will add timestamps and timestamps for the relevant sections in case you want to skip around. So I hope you enjoy the new content. I had the opportunity to be a part of the quality control team, the quality assurance team, and I got to play it a little bit, and I liked what I played quite a lot. I think they did a great job with this update. They addressed some quality of life issues that people were having problems with, and they were able to update to add a new dungeon which flows with the rest of the dungeons nicely. I think it's a very well done update, and I look forward to getting a bunch more content out on it. So that's going to wrap it up. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.